Hey guys, and welcome back to Ugly Duckling House. I'm joining a handful of other influencers today with the Wood Art Challenge to talk about my DIY power carved wall art. While this may seem like an advanced project, it's actually easy for a DIYer to do as long as you have the right tools. Step 1 is gluing up a thick block of wood. While it is possible to buy a thicker block of wood and skip this step altogether, it's much more cost effective to glue pieces tightly together to gain the thickness I need. I bought an inexpensive 8-foot board of poplar and cut it into roughly 6 equal pieces, gluing 2 stacks of 3 boards each side by side. If that sounds confusing, just watch the video and you'll see what I mean. This was technically my first time doing a glue up, so I was kind of worried that it might stick to the work surface if I had too much glue. So I stole some plastic wrap from the kitchen and used painter's tape on anything that might come into contact with the glued surface. As you can see, I'm also using a glue brush to help spread out the glue, which keeps me from being too messy. Once my boards were glued and stacked in the order I wanted them, I grabbed some scrap wood that I covered earlier in painter's tape. These were intended for another project and had pocket hole screws, making each set a 90-degree angle. This was perfect for clamping onto and keeping the poplar boards hugged tight against each other as the glue dried. It was at this point that I realized I had too large of a glue area to clamp against my work table, and I would need to secure it a little more. This was easily fixed though by moving my table out a little and clamping from both sides. Once clamped, all I needed was patience to let it cure. Easier said than done, but thankfully I always have plenty of other projects to keep me distracted. When I cut pieces to create the block, I deliberately left them long so that I would only have to worry about 2 of the sides matching up squarely. The other 2 were measured and cut after the glue cured, leaving me with a perfect square to begin sketching and carving. Since this was my first carving, I wanted something organic and forgiving, without a lot of hard patterns. For inspiration, I turned to the work of a carver I've been following on Instagram, who creates incredible large pieces that look like they're made of fabric or water. A URL to his work is written in the description of this video if you'd like to check him out. Finally, time to carve. But as you can probably tell from that first clip, I don't quite have the hang of things yet. It takes a little practice. It doesn't take long though. The angle grinder I'm using has a variable handle placement that helped me get a solid look at my work surface. So I started off lightly carving away at some of the deeper areas of the carving to gain a better understanding of how the tool worked. But within about 10 minutes, I was carving away at the largest voids pretty aggressively. It should be noted to, of course, wear plenty of safety gear when using this tool, especially a breathing mask. Once I got my carving mojo working for me, it was actually not that scary and a whole lot of fun, except for the hand fatigue. That stuff is no joke. I eventually ditched the clamps since the piece was steady enough on its own to give me some flexibility and turn the piece in different directions as I went. The most surprising part was how quickly it all disappeared. I have some more details about the tools I used in my blog post that accompanies this video, but suffice it to say that I went on a hunt for an inexpensive blade to rip through the wood as quickly as I could. I did a lot of price comparisons since a few better known brands on the market right now are pretty pricey for a simple DIY project, and I luckily found a $10 blade at Harbor Freight that did the job surprisingly well. Even though the blade cut through the wood amazingly fast, there were still limitations on how smooth I could get everything. And that, unfortunately, is everyone's least favorite part, sanding. The first part was a little more fun since it involved using a sanding disc that I could also attach to the angle grinder. I started with a 40 grit and tried 80 after that, but I found that the 80 was just too unsteady and started gouging my project in all the wrong places. I had a drill attachment as well, but nothing really seemed to do the trick. So that meant another unfortunate sanding step, and this one was by hand. For the hand sanding step, I began with a 40 grit sponge and moved my way steadily up to 400 with varying degrees of sandpaper in between. Make no mistake, this was a lot of sanding. after sanding away all the patience I had left, I decided it was time to test out some stain colors. It was finally time to stain and seal my work, and this is the most satisfying part of all. I like to use paint pyramids when I'm staining, that way it stays off the work surface and gets nice air circulation around the entire piece. Just a few screws in the back, and here it is, on the wall and ready to be admired. While this was definitely a first for me, I don't think my days of power carving are over. It was simply too much fun not to try again. If you like this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can catch more of my DIYs. Also, don't forget that there's a wood art challenge playlist, so you can find that link at the end of this video. Thanks for watching!